Global War 36 enthusiast here with Operation Big Red 1, turn 7.4, Japan. It is July 1939. Japan is going to start construction of 2 battleships this turn, and that will cause USA to go up 2 on the production chart to 31. Japan has 2 tech rolls. First, I tried for improved construction at a 7 or higher. PB generated a 5, so I failed. Second, I tried for large ship construction at an 8 or higher. PB generated a 6, so I failed. Production. Japan has 45 IPP to spend. I will upgrade 1 militia to an infantry for 2, 5 militia for 10, that's 12, 1 infantry for 3, that's 15, 2 marines for 8, that's 23, 1 cavalry for 3, that's 26, 1 destroyer for 7, that's 33, and I'll begin construction of the 2 battleships for 12, bringing me to 45. Got a bit of housekeeping. Down here in Cape Town, Boston Bruce on 6.4 had an anti-aircraft artillery, and he had a Anzac naval transport in southern India, or southern Africa, South Africa, and then it left port to sea zone I-1. But Cape Town doesn't have a naval facility adjacent to I-1, so Boston Bruce can do normal naval movement where the naval transport picks up the anti-aircraft artillery from Cape Town and moves 1 to I-3, 2 to I-4, 3 to I-5, and drops it off in Lower Egypt, and then goes in port on the southern side of Lower Egypt. But you can't do strategic naval movement to carry 1 further more, because during strategic naval movement, you have to have the land units at a naval facility adjacent to the sea zone that the naval transport's in. So this Anzac naval transport can't be on the northern side of Lower Egypt. It has to be on the southern side of Lower Egypt. And then on 7.3, the Soviet Union was going to annex both Latvia and Estonia. What Sergeant Shellhole was going to do was attack with a light armor here and then blitz to Estonia. But the rules for blitzing require that you win combat in 2 rounds or less, and annexation is not combat, it's just annexation, a special rule. So he can annex this, and the militia got removed, but he can't then blitz on to Estonia. So he elected just to leave Estonia alone. And then I want to mention that this Lend-Lease submarine caused a lot of hullabaloo about the Allies. Boston Bruce was so torqued by that sub showing up that he instantly tried to declare war on Russia as Great Britain. But the requirement for Great Britain to declare war on the Comintern is that USA has to be at production, full production, which they aren't yet. So I have been in Boston Bruce's position, being Britain, when Russia Lend-Leases a sub, and it is infuriating. I feel your pain, Boston Bruce. I know what that is like, and it is something that a deal that Hambone and Sergeant Shellhole had worked out. But just behind the scenes, there was a lot of drama going down about that. And then I also just want to thank my fellow players for how kind they were about me being gone this past week on vacation. Let's get back to getting the turns out, and to that end, I'll shut up and stop blathering on and on. Okay, so I don't have any combat. I don't have any combat movement. I do have combat movement. I'm going to be moving units through here, past the Singapore Straits here, and I asked Boston Bruce if he wanted to attack these units, and he said he didn't. So essentially this will all be non-combat movement. He could have fired at me, but he didn't want to give up the 5D12 for America by doing that. So I'm lumping all my moves together here, all my non-combat moves, because there wasn't going to be a declaration of war. From Rihe, this artillery is going to strategic rail move down to Siam. From Hopei, 4 infantry are going to move to Shangtung. From Shangtung, 1 cavalry, 1 motorized infantry, 1 artillery are going to move to Kwangtung. From Korea, 1 fighter is going to fly to Sumatra. So it's got a range of 5, 1 to 14, 2 to 32, 3 to 41, 4 to 50, 5 to land in Sumatra. Let's get that on camera. There's the fighter down there in Sumatra. Okay, from Kyushu, 1 fleet carrier will leave port to sea zone P15 and then move 1 to 32, 2 to 41, 3 to P50. This is a chance where Boston Bruce could declare war on the Japanese, and attack, but he declines, so it goes into I-12. From Kwangtung, 1 fighter will fly to that carrier and land in I-12. From Siam, 1 tactical bomber will fly to I-12 and land on the carrier. Joining that carrier from P-59, 1 fleet carrier with 2 tactical bombers will move 1-2. The British declined to declare war, so it's in I-12. The light carrier from P-50 will move into I-12 with its fighter. Okay, let's see what other moves we have. From Kyushu, 2 destroyers will leave port carrying 2 Marines. And they will move down to sea zone P50 and drop off the 2 Marines in Siam and go, oh no, they don't need to go in port. They'll just be in sea zone P50. Okay, from Kwangtung, 1 naval transport will leave port to sea zone P41. It'll move up to P15, so that's two moves, 1, 2 to P15. And it will pick up 2 infantry from Kyushu and then move down 1 space to P32, drop off the 2 infantry in Hunan, and then it'll go in port in Nanking. Okay. From Hunan, 1 infantry that started there will move down to Kwangtung. From sea zone P50, 1 torpedo boat destroyer will move up to sea zone P15. So 1, 2, 3, and then go in port in Kyushu. Oops, don't have that on camera. There we go. That ship is an infantry there in Kyushu. From sea zone P50, the coastal submarine will move to P42. From sea zone P50, one naval transport will move up to C-Zone P41, pick up an infantry and a marine from Kwangtung, drop those two off in, move back to P50 and drop them off in Siam. From C-Zone P59, one destroyer will move up to C-Zone P32, so 1 to P50, 2 to P41, 3 to P32. From C-Zone P59, one battlecruiser, 4 heavy cruisers move to I-12. That's one battlecruiser, 4 heavy cruisers. From P59, 2 battleships and 3 naval transports. The 3 naval transports have a capacity of 6. They're going to pick up these 6 guys, which is from Borneo, 1 infantry, 1 marine, 1 artillery. From Java, 1 infantry, 1 marine. That's 5. And from Sumatra, 1 infantry. That's the 6 units. And then they will move up 1 space here to P50 and then drop off those 6 units into Siam. Okay, there should be 2 battleships that are in P50. All right. From C-Zone P61, 1 submarine will move to P42, so it's going to join that coastal submarine. 1, 2, 3. From P61, 1 coastal sub will move up 1 space to P59. From P61, 1 light cruiser, 2 torpedo boat destroyers will move up to P50. Oh, this is a disaster up here. And then from P59, that remaining destroyer will pick up the infantry from Lesser Sunda Islands. And, whoops, wrong. This is the guy from Lesser Sunda. And move over 3 spaces over to I-7. So 1 to I-13, 2 to I-10, 3 to I-7 is a destroyer with an infantry. From C-Zone P62, 1 light cruiser and 1 naval transport pick up 1 marine from Celebes and move to P50 and drop off the marine in Siam. From C-Zone P62, 1 submarine moves to P44. So we'll go up a couple spaces to Palau. Okay, placement of units. In Eastern Manchuria, I'll put a militia, and in Korea, I'll put a militia. In Kyushu, I will put, oh, that's not on camera, I'll put an infantry and 2 Marines in Kyushu. Let's put that on screen. There was 1 infantry there, so now there's 2 infantry, 2 Marines. And then in port, I will build the destroyer. In Rihe, 1 cavalry. Yep, that's on camera. In Nanking, I will build a militia. In Kwangtung, I'll build another militia, so that'll bring me up to 2 militia in Kwangtung. And my 5th militia will be a militia upgrade, militia mum in Siam. So essentially I will add another infantry to Siam. Okay. And then I've got my 2 battleships that get placed at stage 3 on the build queue. All right. Collect income, I have 41 plus the 6 bonus income for China, so that gives me 47 for next turn. All right. Disposition of forces. Eastern Manchuria, a militia. Rihe, a cavalry. Korea, a militia. South Sakhalin Island, a militia. Tokyo, an infantry. Kyushu, 2 infantry, 2 marines. In port, a destroyer and a torpedo boat destroyer. In Suyeon, 1 militia, 4 infantry, 1 mountain infantry. In Hopei, 1 militia. In Shangtung, 1 militia, 4 infantry. In Nanking, 1 militia, 1 naval transport in port. In Hunan, 1 militia, 2 infantry. In Sea Zone P-32, a destroyer. Formosa, a militia. Okinawa, a militia seaplane. Volcano Islands, Bonin, militia each. Caroline Islands, Marshall, militia each. Sea Zone P-45, submarine. Palau, militia. Sea Zone P-44, submarine. Sea Zone P-42, submarine and coastal submarine. Dutch New Guinea, marine. Sea Zone P-59, coastal submarine. Sumatra, fighter. Okay, I don't think I did Kwangtung. 2 militia, 5 infantry, 1 cavalry, 1 motorized infantry, 1 artillery. Now, what was I going to do with that fighter? That fighter should have flown. This fighter in Kwangtung should fly to Sumatra. I need it in Sumatra. So Sumatra has 2 fighters. Let's look at Siam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infantry, 1 militia, 6 marines, 2 artillery. Sea Zone P-50. 2 battleships, 2 light cruisers, 2 destroyers, 2 torpedo boat destroyers, 5 naval transports. Sea Zone I-12. 1 battle cruiser, 4 heavy cruisers, 2 fleet carriers with 3 tactical bombers and a fighter, 1 light carrier with a fighter. Sea Zone I-7, a destroyer with a Marine on board. And I believe that are all my units. Next up is Boston Bruce with turn 7.5 Commonwealth and 7.6 France.